Tam, you want to come join?
Mm-hmm. Just finishing up.
So you can see it all right here.
I think so, yeah. I'll say hello. Hello.
Let's make sure everybody can hear us. We'll get started here in just a minute. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting.
It sounds like a roller coaster. Amusement.
See what we got here.
Okay. It's freaky seeing yourself on a screen.
So how do we know if they can hear us?
We asked.
We're going to ask. Can y'all hear us? Are we good? Because we had some difficulties earlier.
Yes, we did.
We got about 8,000 people on right
Instantly. Yes, we do. Okay.
Would you be able to?
I should.
Yeah. Just click. Right there. Next over in there. You hover over this. So we should be good.
But I can't hear us.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
So if you're on and you can hear us, maybe just say you can hear us. Because we're about to start, and we just want to make sure.
I lost us. Okay. We're stuck on volume. Low from what down. Hey, Max. Max Shaver.
Max, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear us?
We need an audio check, Max. Are we good? From where? North Carolina?
Yeah. Isn't that bad? I'm so old. I have to like. Nope, I refuse. I'm hanging on for dear life to know.
I remember Max's name from something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we met him down the road, probably?
No, he makes this cool Instant Pot.
Okay.
That thing I like that holds a little handle and a spoon, the wooden thing.
Okay, all right.
Hey, Peggy, Max says yes. He can hear us. They can hear us. Yay!
All right. Peggy's there. What's going on, Peggy?
Where are you, Peggy? Pressure Pal. Thank you, Max. That's what it's called. He makes Pressure Pal, so it goes with the Instant Pot.
I remember you telling me about that. It's like an accessory.
Does a lot of cool little things.
All right.
I love it. So.
There you go. People, check it out. Pressure Pal if you got an Instant Pot. All right. I think we're going to get started.
Yep, it's 8.
And so that we can go ahead, and you're missing more stuff here. All right, so welcome to our world inside of our RV. The website is TechnoRV.com. The location of this Facebook Live is Goshen, Indiana at the Elkhart Fairgrounds.
Yep.
We are up against some stiff competition tonight. I understand the president is live tonight.
He's about 20 miles away in Elkhart, yes.
Yeah, but he is not offering discounts to RVers, and we are. So the topic tonight is tire pressure monitoring. What do we got, problems?
No, Peggy was telling she's in Baldridge Creek.
Oh, good. The topic tonight is tire pressure monitoring and tire safety. I guarantee it, if you'll hang out with us for the entire time, that you will learn something that you didn't know. And so I think what we want to do is just, because people will be coming in and out all night, we want to go ahead and just talk about, we want to just get right to it. We're having a flash sale tonight.
You may just want to get it and be done with it.
Yeah, we're having a flash sale tonight on TST tire pressure monitoring systems. We did this last month with our Surge Guard, and let me tell you how this works. It always starts with me calling my representative at whatever we're going to do the sale on and begging for some special pricing for a sale. So this isn't something that will go out to the public. We're not putting it on our website. This is just for the TechnoRV group on Facebook Live.
And luckily we have a great relationship with TST, our tire pressure monitoring system that we use and sell. So, you know, they were really on board with it. They were super helpful with us and offering a good price and giving us a little help to be able to offer you guys a good price for it.
So, as far as I know, we're already the cheapest online.
Our cheapest is that. That's our website price.
And we're doing a 6-sensor system for $385. And tonight, we're doing $50 off of that. So, in essence, a 6-sensor system would be $335. And we're throwing in batteries, right? Because the sensors that come with a tire pressure monitoring system, the batteries will need to be changed about once a year or so. Some people get a little more out of that. And we're also throwing in this cool little screwdriver that you'll need to get to the battery compartment of the sensors. Which doesn't
sound very exciting until you go to change it and you realize that this is such a tiny screwdriver that it's not usually one that people have.
It's a 00, in case you're wondering, it's a 00 Phillips head.
So you get a 1632, so if you got a 10-sensor system, you'll get 10 Energizer 1632s and a screwdriver.
Free.
Free,
yeah. All free.
We sell them online. For a 10 sensor, it would be $24 to get 10 sensors, the screwdriver. So we're just throwing that in. So you can just keep that for your first battery change.
So if you are just here to say, give me the deal, I want to go buy it, and you don't want to stick around for all the education, then you can go to TechnoRV.com. Let me just say, you will not find this cheaper ever.
Now, you will not. However, I want to say, because we get this a lot, people go online and they say, I found a 6-sensor system for $2 something, like ridiculous. A lot of times it's their older system that's about 8 months old, that's black and white. It's not the same as the new system.
That's not 8 months old, that's about...
No, I'm saying this is the older system, so just be aware if you're price shopping that there are cheaper systems if you want to get the old black and white monitor that doesn't do near with the color monitor. So just be, aware when you're price shopping because it's not the newest model.
The discount code is FLASHTST, all right? And you can just go to our site, put a TST in the cart, in the coupon code, put FLASHTST, and it's going to take $50 off. So let's talk about real quick, because I don't want to just sit here and talk about just tire pressure monitoring the entire time. I want to give you some good information on just tire safety in general. But let's start off with the tire pressure monitoring system. What a tire pressure monitoring system is, in essence, you will have a sensor. These sensors screw onto your valve stem. They're pressure activated. What that means is that when you put it on your valve stem, it starts pinging forward the information about that tire to a monitor that sits where you drive at. Okay, so it's going to give you the temperature and it's going to give you the PSI of each individual tire position. Temperature and PSI are the leading indicators. If you're going to have tire problems, those tire problems are usually preceded by issues with temperature and PSI problems. So that's what a tire pressure monitor does. You'll have a sensor on each valve stem, and then you'll have the information with you. If you have a rapid pressure release on any tire position, it's going to alarm you immediately. The alarm will be an audible alarm, and you'll have a red LED light that'll flash. To silence the audible alarm, you'll just hit any button on the tire pressure monitoring system. That'll silence it, and the red LED will continue to flash until you resolve whatever the issue is. So rapid pressure release, it'll also pick up slow leaks, and because it's monitoring temperature, it's going to let you know if the temperature on any tire position gets too high. So if you have a low pressure situation, that's going to drive temperature up. You could have brakes locking up on a particular position. That's going to drive temperature up. And we're going to talk more about this later, but temperature, high temperature, is the death of a tire.
Bad.
And it's bad. And you definitely...
And a lot of times you don't even, well, I mean, unless you're using a TPMS, you don't even know it. Some people have those laser guns, and they'll stop at, like, exits and check But it can, you know, if you have something locking up and generating heat, it can get pretty, and you don't even know, you know, you don't even realize what the temp is of your tires.
Correct. We just finished up a RV rally, and so we get all the stories from people. And we had a guy this week say he had a tow vehicle. When he hooked his braking system up, he didn't hook it up quite right, and it was applying brake pressure. He's going down the road. He had a TST, and it alarmed him, telling him his front tires on his tow car were overheating. And he stopped and realized that that he had an issue with his braking system. So anyway, it is a must-have tool for RVers. Like, I didn't used to, like, growing up, I didn't used to think about, like, tires at all.
No.
Yeah, I never really checked them.
My dad taught me how to change one, and I actually had to change one once. My sister and I were on the way to a funeral, and I had Tyler. It was a big deal.
I would like
We
to
were
see
on
this.
the interstate. We got a flat tire in my car, and we were both dressed for like a wake, so we were dressed as Tyler was with us, and I had to literally, because my dad taught me, take everything out of the trunk, stroller, everything, change tire on the side of the road.
So if you ever need
Just
a
had to
tire
brag
change
for a
and
little
we're in
bit.
the area, Tammy knows how to do it. But when you're in an RV, things are different. Whether you're in a towable, I don't care if you have a 16-foot towable or you're in a 45-foot Class A, tires, it's all writing on it. So
you want to start with the 10 tire tips we came up with?
yeah, so Tammy is very organized, and I
At
just kind of
times.
talk from the hip. So if you see her kicking me over here, that's because I'm getting off track. So yeah.
All right, so tire tip 1, maintain your proper PSI for the load that you are carrying, not your uncle or your neighbor or the person that owns the same RV as you. Get weighed, because everybody carries a different load in their RV. Some people are part-time traveling. They only go out for like a month or two, and they only bring what they need for that time. Some people are like us, and everything we have is in here. So it's not about the PSI that someone that has an RV like you has. It's about for the load you're carrying. Symmetry is very important, and I'll let Eric talk a little bit more about that.
So this is a huge topic on forums, and every day this question gets asked, and every day I see answers
That are
so silly that I can't believe people. Somebody asked it the other day on a Facebook forum, what tire pressure should I be using? And somebody answered and said, my uncle
has a new
has a
Whatever.
Newmar and he runs at 105. Try that. And I'm like, how is that an acceptable
In
answer?
defense of that type stuff, though, it goes back to when you're in a car, you do not think about PSI and tires like you do in an RV, because they're not loaded down as heavy. And so it's not to
I'm not
say, hey,
defending it.
you know, give them a break. But still,
All right.
yes, it is crazy.
We'll give them a break.
So
But
symmetry, talking about the symmetry. In a car, you have symmetry on both sides, pretty much like a truck is identical on both sides. RVs aren't like that. So in our RV, we have 4 slides, but this slide behind us is not as large as the one over on the opposing side. It's almost a whole wall. So you talk about one side may have a slide that's 800 pounds, one may have a slide that's 300 pounds, you know, residential fridge over there, all kind of things. So they don't weigh the same on both sides, which can affect tires and what the load that they're carrying. That's why it's important to get weighed for every tire, not just the cat scale at the truck stop that you can get axle ratings. But it's real important with RVs because of their designs. People design them for living, not necessarily to be symmetrical on the weight that you're carrying. It's real important to get your tires weighed per tire position. Your RV per tire position.
yeah, and just like she said, I mean, when we got ours weighed, our front right was heavier than our front left. What you're supposed to do once you get weighed is you're supposed to take those weights and apply it to the tire inflation chart for your particular tire. And you can find that online, or you've probably got the information in your RV or truck. And it will tell you the proper PSI for that particular weight load.
And that's the only correct PSI for your RV, is your inflation chart for your weight.
Correct. And if you have different weights for across an axle, you want your PSI to always be the same across an axle. So if based on your weights, the tire inflation chart says you should have 100 PSI in this tire and 95 in this one, then you should put 100 across the axle. So you always want to go with the highest one. Something that about tire inflation charts, they're based on 70 degrees. A lot of people don't know that. I don't like to get hung up on that a lot because when you're checking your tire pressure, you should always be checking like the cold tire pressure before you start running down the road. But tire inflation charts are set up based on 70 degrees, and for every 10 degrees that your tire heats up, the tire pressure can increase by 2%, and vice versa. For every 10 degrees below, you can lose 2%. And then elevation also, for every 1,000 feet of elevation that you travel, that can increase your PSI by about 0.5 PSI. So there's a lot of things to consider there, but the bottom line is get your RV weighed. There's a lot of weighing groups out there. The
Escapees Smart Weigh has 2 stationary locations, and I think Livingston and somewhere in Florida. It's escapees.com. RVSEF goes to a lot of rallies. If you go to a rally, generally they have a weigh for you. They were weighing holiday ramblers out here the other day. So this is going to go on to tire tip 2. It kind of blends into each other.
Okay.
If you don't know your weight, don't freak out. It's not like, oh God, I can't drive now because I don't know my weight and I'm going to blow up and all this stuff. Just go with your max cold tire pressure, because now the road, it might be a little bit more of a rough ride if you don't know it, and you might not need that much air, but it's much better to be overinflated than underinflated. Underinflation causes heat, which is the death of a tire. So if you don't know, just do your maximum cold tire pressure.
Every tire engineer I've ever talked to says the same thing. Heat is the death of a tire. A tire the rubber can start breaking down at about 200 degrees on a tire. And so that's where you can start having tire failure. So naturally, obviously you want to be under that, and you want to do everything that you can to keep from getting high heat to the tire, and that means having the right tire pressure, because again, if you're underinflated, your temperature is going to rise, and that's going to be a problem. So to Tammy's point, if you don't know, go with whatever the maximum tire pressure is for that particular tire brand. So if they're like, look, at maximum load, the max PSI is, let's say, 120 PSI. If you don't know you're at max load because you haven't been weighed, then you just need to assume you're at max load. Put it at 120 and then get weighed. And then if you, based on that weight, if you can come down, then you do it at that time.
Because you're not damaging your tire running it at the max cold tire, but you could damage and reduce the life or even cause failure if you underinflate. That's why you just don't even guess. Don't try to guess.
Yeah, underinflation's just worse. So if you want to be dead on to what you want to be at. So another thing is that from a maximum, it's just something I get asked a lot. Is it okay to put my tire at the maximum, knowing that when I start traveling, my PSI is going to go up? So if the maximum for a tire is 120 cold, when I start traveling down the road, now all of a sudden I might be at like 135. Is that okay since the maximum says 120? And the answer to that is yes, it is okay. The tire engineers have built into that. They understand that as you start traveling, your tire pressure is going to go up. So when they say max pressure, that's cold max pressure. The other thing that I have asked tire engineers before, and I finally got a solid answer to this, is what is too much? Because I get asked this a lot too. Let's say the maximum is 120 and you're out west in the middle of the summer in the desert and your tire pressure raises, say, 20%, 25%, say 30%. What's too much? And the bottom line is that assuming that the tire itself is in good condition and doesn't have any damage to it, that the tire can handle in other words, the rim will fail before the tire will fail. So I don't have a number on that, but whatever it is, you're more concerned about the rim failing at extreme high pressures than you would the tire. Unless your tire is taking on damage that you're not aware of, then that could be a whole different thing. All right.
Frank asked, no discount for TST components. We hadn't thought about that. We got a special on the kits, but you want Frank to email and let us know what he wants or see what we can do?
Yeah, it's not something we're doing for this here. So if you already have a TST and you want to email me at Eric ERIC at TechnoRV.com, and just let me know what you're thinking about. But the discount that we're doing, where's the sheet at?
Right here.
The discount that we're doing is for systems and any size system. So whether you need 6, 8, 10, 12, you can get the $50 off of it.
So it starts, a 4 sensor is normally $329. It'll be $279 all the way up to a 12 sensor system, $685 normally, $635 plus the number of batteries that you need for your first change and a screwdriver.
Yeah, we'll throw all that in. So
I gotta stop. Hey, Christy.
Hey.
Thanks for coming in. Christy Joyce.
Oh, okay, good. All right, hey Christy. So there you go. FLASHTST is the discount code. TechnoRV.com is the website.
I put a link in the comments and I put the code as well, so there's a link to the TST products. All right, going to tire tip number 3. Get to know your tire. It has a birth date. It has speed limitations. It has an inflation guideline chart, like what Eric was saying. Pressure limitations, that max tire pressure. Everything you need to know about your tire is actually on your tire. All those crazy things that are printed on there, you pretty much can find everything you need to know from if you have a single tire, what its max weight load is, PSI, the birth date is on it. And it's weird how they say the birth date. They do, for example, 04.
So if it was say 0414,
yeah,
that would be the 4th week
month
of 2000.
Yeah, 4th week
of 2014.
So you can always know how old your tire is, because that's important, because a lot of tires will actually age out before they'll wear out. So it's important to know, especially if you buy a used RV and they're like, oh, we just put new tires on. Well, it's really easy to go check that and see actually the birth date of the tire. We have a website, and I can put it in the comments, tiresafetygroup.com, where you can go in and put the DOT code of the tire and learn its birth date, if there were any recalls, when it was manufactured, where, everything you could possibly get,
So on the side of your tire, there is a DOT code that starts off with DOT. I forget how many digits it is, but nonetheless, it's there. And if you go to tiresafetygroup.com and enter your DOT code, it'll tell you everything you need to know about your tire as far as where was it manufactured. It's going to tell you if there's any recalls. It'll tell you how old the tire is, even though that's on the tire. But if you want to go there and just kind of check that out, that's a good thing to do, to just make sure that, if nothing else, to make sure that there's no recalls on the tire, and it's a great resource.
And it's a good way to check and make sure everybody's telling you the truth about your tires. Tire tip 4, you've cut.
Before we leave 3, all of the information that's on your tires, if you're unsure about like what all that is, we actually do a seminar when we go to RV rallies where we kind of cover all that. We've got some articles on our website. If you go to technorv.com, and up top there's something that says articles, and then you can go to tire safety, I think, and there's articles there. We've written articles kind of about the tires and what the information that's on them. So if you want to check that out, you can. You can always email us as well.
We also have some YouTube videos that we've done with people that weigh RVs. That's specifically what they do, and some feedback from them, which is really good too. So tire tip 4, we've already really gone over. I'll read it and then we can move on, because you've already said, well, no, visually inspect your tires before each trip and check your tire pressure before traveling while it's cold. So he's already mentioned the fact that some people say my max tire pressure is 120, but when I drive for an hour, it goes up to 130. So should I back it off and make it where it never gets above, like they think it's 120 is its max, like it's not going to function after 120, and that's not the case. It's 120 cold, as Eric mentioned. But the visually inspecting your tires is important. Again, not anything I ever did. I never inspected my car tires.
So here's the thing with visually inspecting the tires. Technically, it should be done before every trip. And what you're looking for is, do you have a nail in it? The obvious. Do you have any cuts? Do you have cracks in your tires? If you have duals, you need to look to make sure there's nothing lodged between the duals. And then you gotta get a little dirty if you're gonna do it right, because there's two sides to the tire, and a lot of people just like to walk around and just look at the outside, but really you need to inspect the inside wall of that tire too, because if you damage a cord or a cushion within that tire, it will at some point start presenting itself visually, like maybe a lump in the tire or something like that. As your tires start to age, you can start getting cracking in the tires. Another tip is that if you think you start seeing some cracks, like on the side wall of a tire, if you'll take some talcum powder and put it on the tire, those cracks. Yeah, do we have talcum powder?
It's called baby powder.
Baby powder. Okay, whatever.
Talcum powder is like my great-grandmother or something.
All right, so baby powder.
Thank
Does that
you.
make it better?
Yes, baby powder.
But anyway, that'll make the cracks show up better on the tires, and then of course you want to wash it off.
Another cool thing, if you don't want to get under your tires, you can turn your light on and actually video with your flash on and get some shots. I go the easy way, so I don't have to get on the ground. Not that I check them, but that's a tip.
Yeah, I've never done that.
I bet it would
I
work.
guess you potentially could do that. The
Yeah.
idea is that if you can do that and get a good look at the inside of your tires, then I would approve of that. But
Get a
if
little
you
selfie
can't
stick. Get a little selfie
you
stick.
can't get a good look on it, then I would not approve that. Before we move on, I want to go back to the tire pressure monitoring system and point out a few things about the TST tire pressure monitoring system. We're full-time RVers, so when we talk about products that we think are the best on the market, it's because we use them full-time, and obviously this is the brand that we sell. What are we doing? We having problems?
No, they just can't see.
Oh, okay.
I'm showing it.
Okay, is that showing up there?
It'll come on. Yeah, we're on delay.
Okay, so bottom line is that TST, they use GE circuitry in their monitors, so they don't use cheap components. They're the only monitor on the market that's got a color screen, and that's a big deal, because you're not wanting to just stare at this screen while you're going down the road, but you do want to take quick glances over and just kind of check things out, even though it's going to alarm you if something happens. But people want to see the screen, so the color screen is more brilliant. The other thing that this system does that a lot of systems don't is it gives you your temperature and your PSI all on the same screen, and it auto scrolls. So you'll notice that a tire is blinking. Whichever tire is blinking, that's the data that you're getting on the screen.
I get questions about, can you scroll through, and you can scroll with the plus and minus on the right. Instead of letting it cycle through, you can actually push. If you push that plus button, Eric, it'll just go straight through all of them.
Yeah, if you press the plus or minus buttons, then it'll just go straight to whatever tire you want, but it auto scrolls while you're driving so that you don't have to hit buttons.
Right.
And that's a big deal, because other systems don't do that, and this one does, and it's a pretty big help while you're driving down the road. So anyway, both points of data, color screen, quality circuitry. In addition,
Yeah, while I have the camera off, show it.
in addition, TST offers two styles of sensors. This is the new flow-through sensor. Now, TST has been offering a flow-through sensor for some time, but this is the new one, and it offers a better flow rate whenever you're airing up your tire through the sensor. So in other words, this will be on your valve stem, and when you need to air up your tires, you don't need to take the sensor off in order to air up your tire. You just air it up straight through the sensor. So the flow rate has been improved on this new sensor. It still has a user replaceable battery in it. In order to replace the battery, you just take these two screws out, and there's a 1632 battery up underneath this cover. You just change it out. They last about a year, and I like to use these on my motorhome, and you definitely want to make sure you use metal valve stems when using a flow-through sensor. That is why on a tow vehicle, I like to recommend the cap sensor. It's a little bit lower of a profile than the flow-through sensor, and it works better with rubber valve stems. So you can mix and match these. So for me, I have these on my motorhome and I have these on my tow vehicle. When I was in a fifth wheel, I pretty much just ran all caps. But if you have metal valve stems on your fifth wheel or towable, then you could certainly use the flow-through sensor.
While you're talking about valve stems, mention the
repeater?
The extender.
Okay, so this is a valve extender. There's several different kinds of valve extenders on the market. There's the braided kind, which is more of like the flexible kind. Those are okay as long as you make sure that the ending point is secured and it's not just kind of flopping around. This is a solid wheel extender or valve extender. This is the Wheelmaster brand. I highly recommend these. This is just a 2-inch extender. It's perfectly okay to use a valve extender with the TST system. And again, Wheelmaster is a great brand. The other thing that I want to bring up is that every system with TST includes a signal repeater. We're dealing with radio signal here from your sensor up to the monitor. So while the system has a great range, let's say you're going through like a rainstorm or a high electronic interference type area and signal starts to get affected. That's why every system includes the signal repeater. This is going to make sure that no matter what the condition is, you're always going to have good signal strength from your sensors up to the monitor. Basically, it comes with 2 open lead ends and it just takes 12-volt power. What I've done with my RV is I just went and got a couple of little battery clamps from like Lowe's or Home Depot's, connected it to the lead ends here, and then I pop it straight to my chassis batteries. It's all it takes. You don't have to do anything else to make that work, and it's good for up to 100 feet there. So
the system comes with this little dash pad that we have ours sitting on. It also comes with a suction cup mount that attaches to the back. It comes with the repeater, and then show the tool so I can set this back down. Let's do the...
Okay, so this is, they have anti-theft devices. So on the cap sensor, you would use this tool to put the cap sensor onto the valve stem. Without the tool, this outer shell just spins so that if somebody tried to take that off, they would not be able to get it off. On the new flow-through sensor, and I don't have one here, but there is just a small brass nut that you would put onto the valve stem before you put this on. Then you would screw this onto the valve stem, and then you're going to have a tool similar to this one that'll reach around and grab that brass nut and back it up to this, and that way it won't come off. So nice anti-theft features on that, and we'll let Tammy get set up.
You're good.
Here, and we're moving on. So does anybody have any questions? Let's check comments here. Hope everybody's learning something. While Tammy's checking for questions, FLASHTST for $50 off of TST systems at TechnoRV.com. The other thing is that when you buy a system from us, you get the TechnoRV Learning Series. I've made, I don't know, 6 or 8 videos showing you how to program the system, showing you how to put sensors in, how to delete sensors, how to set parameters, anything you need to know about this system. It's not hard to do, but it's
good to see.
Just something that we have added to most of our products so that you, we just want to make sure you're successful with it.
All right, we're halfway through. Tire tip number 5, don't use petroleum, silicone, or alcohol-based products to clean your tires. Is that it?
Want me to take that one?
Yeah, do that one.
Okay.
I might mess that one up.
So
I don't clean our tires.
I'm just going to get into this, because I may be skipping ahead here, but tires have anti-aging compounds in them. I'm getting a little bit ahead here, aren't I? But
you are jumping to tire tip 7, but go ahead.
But I'm going to do it anyway. So tires have anti-aging compounds in them. Most tires will have about 12 compounds, and though each of those compounds can have up to 12 ingredients in each of them. They're designed to, for a lack of a better term, keep the tires young. In order for those compounds to work, the tires need to be flexing and bending and twisting. In other words, they need to be exercised. They need to be exercised and moved. And in addition, tires, because of the way they're made and kind of the compounds that are in them, don't like certain other compounds to be on them, like what Tammy said, petroleum, silicone, alcohol-based products. So I know we like our tires to look pretty, so we spray this stuff on them and they're all shining, but that's actually not good for them. The best way to clean a tire is just take some mild soap and wipe them down.
I think that I found that interesting when we learned that about the anti-aging compounds, because again, all of my knowledge of tires is a passenger vehicle, and you drive your car almost every day. I mean, or you know, you might sit on the weekend or whatever, but RV tires aren't like that. You sit, some people get like 6 months and stay in one place 6 months, so you don't think about the fact that tires are designed to be used, and then when you're in an RV, you're doing the complete opposite of that. You get somewhere, you sit for a while, and then you drive, and then you sit for a while. So I found that to be very interesting. Something that, again, it just, you didn't realize it. Peggy did ask, what happens if you have an airless extension?
So that's a good question, and I don't know what an airless extender is. But I will tell you this, if I'm thinking about this right, these are pressure activated, and therefore whatever you put these on, I've just never heard that term before, but whatever you put these on has to release the pressure from the Schrader valve in the valve stem to pressurize these. So anyway, that's...
So if you can give us some more information, Peggy, we can help you out on that. Airless extension, just a little bit more explanation. So, and then we'll get back to that. Place something, going back to what they're made of, again, this is important. Place something under your tires if you're parked for long times on concrete or asphalt, which is what people do on RVs anyway, but luckily some places have gravel or you're not on those particular surfaces.
So asphalt is a petroleum-based product. So you remember we said, hey, don't put petroleum-type products on your tires. Well, the very roads we drive on are petroleum-based products, but we're rolling down them, and so that's fine. Concrete also has chemicals and things like that. So the bottom line is, if you're parked on these surfaces for extended periods of time, the compounds from the tire can start to leach out of your tires onto the ground. That's why I say tires need to be exercised. They're designed to move. And what do we do as RVers? We drive for a little short period of time, and then we sit for a longer period of time. We drive, we sit, we drive, we sit. And actually tires, they just kind of like to be moving all the time. And so so if you're going to be parked on asphalt or concrete for an extended period of time, and depending on the conditions, I mean, that could be a week or longer, it's not a bad idea to put a barrier between your tire and that surface. Somebody gave me a tip a while back and just said, hey, a simple placemat.
Actually, and women will know what I'm talking about. Maybe some men if you're a cook. Those flexible cutting boards now that you can get that are just, those would be great because they're a big enough footprint and everything. What are you laughing at?
Seems Craig Lowry is clowning around here, and
he wants guitar.
Asked for the guitar to be played. We'll see if we can get to that a bit later. I might do that at the very end.
So quick and write a tire song. So those plastic flexible cutting boards can work good for a barrier. Tire tip 7 we're going to skip because we've already talked about exercise your tires to allow anti-aging compounds to work best.
Let me add something, because I get asked this too about exercising your tires. Before we blow past that one, people ask me, what about when you store your RV? What's the proper way to handle that? The absolute best way to do that, which I don't know anybody that does it, is to take the tires off of the RV and put them in storage bags. Now, again, I don't know of anybody that's going to do that. So the next best thing is going to be to get as much weight out of the RV as you can, so there's less weight on the RV, and make sure that you have your tires up to the correct pressure. And then it's also a good idea to exercise the tires routinely. And I've always said that, if you can, like every 3 to 4 weeks, you need to kind of get them moving. And then the next question is, well, how long do I move them? Well, I mean, if you could just exercise them for 20, 30 minutes That's better than nothing. So
now, this doesn't mean if you don't do this that the next trip you take you're going to have a blowout. It just reduces the life of your tire. So whereas you may have gotten 5 to 7 years, if you don't do these things on a regular basis, your life of your tire is going to be reduced. It doesn't mean you're going to have some huge blowout if you don't exercise your tires over the winter.
Yeah, it's a good point, because all of these tips that we're given are just tips to get you the most use out of your tire and for the longest period of time. If you don't do any one of these things, it's not like your tires are going to explode the next day.
Peggy said it's a rod instead of a Schrader valve, so there's no air coming through the extension. Some people are putting them on inner duals. I actually did hear something about that at the show.
Yeah, have to do some research on that.
Yeah, if there's no pressure coming through the valve, I would assume that you would not get a reading. So my question would be, if you have an airless valve, how do you check the pressure? Like with a regular valve stem. Because if you can check that, then it should work.
We will do some research for sure and deal with that.
Deacon, perfect timing, because tire tip number 8, they asked what about tire covers, is protect your tires from UV damage by covering them when parked. Okay,
so UV is not good for tires, and so if your tires sit out for long periods of time in direct sunlight, then that can be over time. And again, this is all about just tips on how to increase the life of your tire. So absolutely, tire covers are a great idea. There's a lot of different kinds out there. I use a brand called MagnaShade. It basically covers the wall of the tire, but the rim still shows. I kind of just like that look. There's the drape kind that just kind of covers the whole wheel well, and then there's kind of the bags that you put over them. Did we just do that together?
We did.
Put the bags over them. And but any of those is fine. As far as color, people ask this too. All I've seen is, they come in black and white. The ones I have are black. But if I had to say, just from a technical standpoint, like which would be better, I would probably have to say white.
It's more reflective.
They're going to reflect sun better, keep more of that heat off of it.
Although the black ones usually are made with UV, fabrics and stuff like that, but still, common sense, white does reflect more.
There is a product called 303 that you can spray on your tires, and it has a kind of a UV blocking property to it. I've never used it, but it comes highly recommended by just a lot of people in the RV industry, so you could check that out. Like I say, I've never used it, so I can't speak to it personally, but I understand it to be a good product. Who else is on? Do we need to say
Kathy Joe has joined.
What's going on,
Kathy Joe? How are the ducks? I'm loving watching y'all's ducks at the Texan RV Park.
Is that your cousin? Brandy?
Oh, it is. Brandy's in here.
We got family members joining. Yeah. Starts to turn into trouble.
Got a family reunion going. Tire tip 9, always, and this one, I see this one broken all the time. We actually get too much. I mean, there's some interesting things that go on in campgrounds, that's all I'm going to say. Always support your complete tire footprint when using levelers. If you put something under your tire, I've seen it where just like the whole tire is just sitting on this tiny little bit, or you have duals and only one's on it. If you're going to put something under your tire to level, the entire footprint needs to be covered, which means it needs to be larger than the tire. That's important just for pressure, and I'll let Eric go into more of that, because
nothing more.
Like to elaborate more
if that's your tire footprint right here, and you put a leveler under it that's about that size, then you're going to have tires going to hang off of both sides of that, and that's not going to be good for your tire over the long haul. In addition, with the duals, if you only support one dual, then that dual is going to be supporting more weight than the other dual, and that's not going to be good for the tire. So if you're going to do it right. If you're going to use levelers to drive up on, make sure it covers the entire footprint and that you do all tires across an axle. Good?
Yep. I'm just making sure I've got a few other things that we...
TST is the product. The website is TechnoRV.com. The sale is $50 off. The coupon code when you go to purchase it off TechnoRV.com is FLASHTST, and that will give you $50 off. And that will be the best price you will get forever.
Yeah, unless there's a new product one day and they just like close out special.
Maybe.
Probably.
This is a good deal. That's all I'm saying. All right, what else
okay,
we got?
tire tip 10, and you just touched on that. Use a TPMS to monitor your temperature and PSI while driving. All of these things that we've talked about to do to help extend the life of your tire and just maintain a safe tire for traveling. Heat and PSI are the two leading indicators of tire failure. And although you can be as diligent as you can be, you could stop at every exit. But we cannot stress enough that you really just cannot keep up with what your tires are doing while you're driving.
No.
We've had people that buy these and put them on their inner dual, and the inner dual was at 20 PSI and they didn't even realize it. So you think that things are possibly, that you know what's going on with your tires, but once you've ridden with one of these, you'll learn so much about your tire. You'll learn about what on a regular day what your PSI goes to. You'll see temperature rise on a side where the sun's coming in. You'll really just understand more about what your tire. The other cool thing is because they're pressure activated, like what Eric said, even if you're sitting still for a month or two or however long, you can turn it on anytime you want to and check your tires. So it's not that you have to get ready for your trip and be like, oh, I gotta go add air or whatever. Because I know we were in Kentucky once, and when the snowstorm came out of nowhere, and you just checked the PSI, which of course it had dropped some because of the temperature, it had dropped down. So you just learn a lot about your tires, and the better you treat them, the longer they're gonna last. And they are, no joke, expensive. I mean, they are just not, we haven't had to replace these yet. We've probably got about...
Oh, the tires are...
In a motorhome, it's 5 to 7 years, but like 250,000 miles, and we don't drive 50,000 miles a year.
So to clarify, what we're talking about here is the average life of an RV tire, like a motorhome tire, is 5 to 7 years. But from a mileage standpoint, they're rated at 250 to 300,000 miles. And I don't know of any RVer that drives that much. So bottom line is you will age out your tires before you wear them out. And again, 5 to 7 years is kind of I know some people might be able to get more and some people get less, but that's kind of the average. As an RV driver, to Tammy's point, I have learned the characteristics of my tires in most conditions just by being able to, at a quick glance, look over and see what's going on with my tires, whether I'm out west where it's super hot or I'm in the northeast where it's cold. The tire pressure monitoring system always gives me that data, and I'm sitting here, and this is actually my unit here, and I just noticed that one of my inside duals is about 5 pounds light in pressure, so I'm probably going to have to check that out.
We've been here a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't want to interrupt. Tim said, hey, from RVE, mention the free items again. The code, I just double checked it. It is FLASHTST. If it's not working for you, I may have to, I just checked it. If someone else could tell me if the code's working or not. I don't know.
Everybody go buy one.
Everybody go buy one and put it in the cart and see if it takes it off. It should take it off when you get in the cart. FLASHTST in the promotional code box. Not only will you get the $50 off, but you will get your first set of batteries to change the batteries. The CR1632 Energizer, if you buy a 6-sensor system, you get 6 batteries, 8, so on. And you get the screwdriver that fits that crazy little tiny screw to change it. So that's the free add-on, is your first set of battery change and screwdriver. So Tim, let me know if you can, because it...
Are they saying it won't?
It says it doesn't change the price. So if you want to talk, I can test it.
Yep, we'll check that out. So I know we've had some new people join, and we're kind of coming to the end here, but I am going to just kind of one last time go through and just talk about the tire pressure monitoring system here. The brand is TST. It is without a doubt the best tire pressure monitoring system on the market. I don't say that as a business owner that just sells these. I say that as a full-time RVer that has put tens of thousands of miles on this unit and have tested other units on the market. I know they use quality circuitry in the display itself. They're the only color monitor on the market today. Which
really makes a difference. It's not just like looks. We've had so many people tell us going from the black and white monitor to this monitor. In addition to it being color, the cool thing that I think they added was the other one, and a lot of the other brands have codes down at the bottom, like little symbols. And if your alarm goes off, they throw that symbol, but unless you just remember the symbol, they're not all that great. you don't know if it's high pressure, low pressure, temp, or whatever. So this one has the words at the bottom of the screen. So if you do get an alarm, it'll just tell you high pressure, low pressure, high temp, or whatever. So that's a great
And if you
feature.
go into alarm, you're gonna know which tire position is in alarm, and you're gonna know which point of data is in alarm. So if I had my back inner dual had high temperature, or it was low pressure, when it alarms me, that tire position is going to be blinking, and whatever point of data is in alarm will be blinking as well, so that when I get off the road, I know exactly where I need to go to check things out. Again, TST offers a flow-through sensor that allows you to air up your tire through the sensor without taking the sensor off. They also offer a cap sensor here that you do need to take this off in order to put air in it. But it is a little bit lower of a profile, so I like to see the cap sensors on tow vehicles, because usually the wheel wells of a tow vehicle are a little bit shallower, and since this one's a lower profile, it usually works out better there. Plus these are fine on rubber valve stems, the cap sensors, whereas the flow-through sensors need to be on metal valve stems. The kits also come with the signal repeater. When you get the kits from us, we send you our learning series, and it has videos of me showing you how to put all this together, and it also shows me putting this onto my motorhome so that you'll know exactly how to handle that as well. And again, $50 off FLASHTST, and it also includes free batteries for the number of sensors that you get, and this cool little 00 Phillips head screwdriver. So the website is TechnoRV.com. We are Eric and Tammy, the owners of TechnoRV.com, and she is testing things and fixing things. So let me just say
pick your
this.
guitar up or something.
So
I'm kidding.
So let me just say this before I pick the guitar up and play it at Craig Lowry's request. Tammy is fixing the discount code, which apparently is having
It's not working
a
on
little bit of
certain
an issue.
things,
So if
I'm
you
not
went
sure.
in to try it,
Oh, I see why. Because I have the coupon name as TST Flash instead of FLASHTST.
okay.
I had a little transposition there.
And now it's fixed.
Yes.
Wonderful.
It should be fixed now. Sorry, Tim.
All right, so are there any more questions that we have here? And
I gotta go back and look because there we go.
it
All
will-
right. All caps. Let's see. You mentioned the free items again. Deacon. Actually, all caps. And I'm assuming, Deacon, your question is, do you have to get all caps? We have two different types of sensors. We have a flow-through sensor and a cap sensor. You can actually mix and match. When you go online, the product will ask you how many cap sensors do you need, how many flow-throughs, so you can mix and match. As Eric mentioned earlier, we actually have 6 of the flow-through on our motorhome, and we have 4 on the Jeep. So you can mix and match. We just don't want these flow-through sensors on rubber valve stems. So if you have rubber valve stems, definitely go with the cap sensors. They work the same way. They have the same batteries. They project the same on the same screen. It's really preference, except for that rubber valve stem situation. You would want rubber valve stems to have a cap sensor. So
Tim says it's working.
yay, good.
So if you don't have one and you RV, shame on you.
Shame, that is rough. That's harsh.
You need one. I hope everybody's learned something today. And
Oh my gosh.
And I'm gonna close out.
Sherry and Craig, this is all your fault.
At the request of Sherry Lowry, I'm gonna give you about 10 seconds, maybe.
What are you gonna play?
I don't know.
I can't believe this is for you, Sherry and Craig.
There you go. That's for somebody I used to work with, and they didn't think I'd do it probably, but there you go.
So, the FLASHTST code, just so you know, we do extend it past the video because we realize that there are people that you might be eating or had something going on tonight. So you're welcome to share this code with anyone you know might be in the market, they can actually rewatch the video after we close it out. And we're going to extend it
through Sunday at midnight.
Yeah, with supply, while supplies last, we're going to, it's Saturday through midnight. It's 2 days. I think I have it through Saturday. Anyway.
Bottom line is, if you have, this is for TechnoRV people on Facebook,
it's not gonna be
TechnoRV people
online.
on our email list, but friends of yours or friends of ours, so you are welcome to send the discount code to as many people as you want. You can post it on forums, whatever you want to do, but when it ends, it's done.
Yeah.
And so I hope everybody learned something from us here.
Thanks, Max. We appreciate the compliment.
In Goshen, Indiana. We're Eric and Tammy with TechnoRV, and if you have any questions, you can always email us directly, eric@technorv.com. We have a phone number on our website as well if
or
you
you
ever
can
need
message
support.
us on Facebook.
Or you can message us on Facebook, and we have a chat function on our site as well. So that's it from Goshen, Indiana.
Yep.
Eric and Tammy from TechnoRV. Have a good evening.
Thanks for coming by. Got awfully quiet.